English lesson, let's talk about how to listen. More specifically, I know you can understand me very well. I am a teacher. In this lesson, we're going to focus on how to improve your listening comprehension so that you can understand more than teachers, so that you can understand your favorite movies, TV shows, podcasts, your boss, your customers, anywhere, anytime. If you don't know me very well, I am Teacher Prix, and I'm going to help you talk to anyone, anywhere, anytime in English. Consider subscribing to the channel or perhaps sharing this video with a friend, because every week I post different lessons to make you a better and more confident English speaker, so I appreciate it. Now, guys, let's talk about the good stuff, and we are going to have a listening practice. Yes, this lesson is aimed at B1 and B2, pre-intermediate and intermediate English learners. Perhaps for B1 it may be a little bit more difficult, but I assure you, you're going to enjoy this lesson very, very much, okay? Now, guys, listening mastery can be achieved. When I say mastery, I'm not trying to imply perfection, because I don't believe in such thing. English fluency is about communication, not perfection, and improving your comprehension will always be a challenge because there are so many different people, so many different kinds of materials, movies, so many different accents and mannerisms. So it is natural that sometimes you may come across a video that is a little more difficult than others, but you can master your listening, to the point you feel more confident if you learn to listen. My program, my academy, and I really like to emphasize that a lot because I tested these strategies on myself and also on my students. I have helped people from all over the world, people who are struggling with their listening comprehension. But after they learned how to listen, they improved. So I challenge my students in every module, not to mention the extra activities that my sardines, my baby sardines, that's how I call my students, they get inside our group on Facebook. But let's go, guys. Entertainment versus practice. Before you learn to listen, and I will give you instructions, we are going to have a short listening practice, but before you learn to listen, there are 2 points I need to highlight. The first one is connected to entertainment versus practice, reading versus listening. What happens here? When you're watching a video with subtitles, fun, huh? You're not really listening. You are reading. Let's do the test together. This is not the listening I prepared, but I did pick a short video, and you will watch the video and you will see the video with subtitles, okay? I'm going to play the video for you right now. Take a listen.
You've heard of the placebo effect, where believing a fake treatment works can actually make you feel better. But have you heard of its evil twin? It's called the nocebo effect. It happens when you believe something will harm you, and your mind makes it real. Like getting headaches or nausea just from hearing about side effects, even when you took a harmless sugar pill. The mind is powerful.
The mind is powerful. Indeed, it is really powerful. Now, why did I want to show you this video with the subtitles? To show you that when you watch a video to work on your listening comprehension, and that video has subtitles, you are no longer working on listening. You are mostly working on reading comprehension. Most of the time, and I have seen this happen, students watching a video with subtitles, they are not listening anymore, they are reading the words. And they are focusing on the words. Nowadays, because of Instagram, social media in general, oftentimes the students don't even hear the sound when people are speaking. They just leave it on mute and read the subtitles. So much more convenient. And then what happens in real life? No subtitles. No subtitles whatsoever. Why? Because in real life, there are no subtitles. As a result, you have the feeling that your listening comprehension is not good, that you're not doing a very good job. It is frustrating. I agree. I agree with you. But you need to understand that when you're doing listening comprehension, subtitles will not help you. Subtitles can be used in a different situation, at a different time. And I will talk about that in this lesson, okay? Another important point we need to understand here is fun versus work, entertainment versus practice, okay? For fun, I love having fun. I love it. I go to the gym. Nowadays, I'm not taking my cell phone to the gym, but sometimes when I go for a walk, or if I am cleaning the house, I listen to a podcast. Yes, I imagine some of you do the same. However, when I am doing that and listening, I am not working on my listening comprehension. I am cleaning, or I am running, or I am walking, or I am doing the dishes. I'm not doing both. I think I have the perception of doing both, but I'm not really doing both. You may catch things randomly, but you're not really testing and improving, enhancing your comprehension. You are not immersed in the listening experience. You are not following a particular strategy to test and improve your comprehension. You expect to understand without doing the proper work. And I am not here to judge you and say, stop that, never do that again. I still do it, but I am really aware of that moment. It is not my listening practice. If I understand, great. If I don't understand, whatever. That's not my listening moment. My real practice is when I am fully immersed, when I am actually doing the work. Mental clarity, alertness, a plan, a sequence, a test, follow-up exercises, additional skills. That's when I am fully immersed in the experience. Right now, if you're watching me, taking notes, paying attention, no cell phone, no distractions, congratulations, you're working. But if you are perhaps on the bus, just in the living room, getting ready to have dinner and just casually listening to me, that's not real work. That's just fun. Fun, maybe it's not so fun. You get it, right? But it's entertainment. When you're fully immersed in the exercise, your mind becomes fully sharp as an eagle's sight. Eagles are really sharp. Their vision is amazing. Laser focus, it's so sharp. When you're doing the work, I'm not saying that because you're focused, you will understand everything. No, I wish, okay? But when you are fully immersed in the experience, you have a lot of mental clarity. You are really immersed in the activity in front of you. That is a very different task. You're not walking. You're not doing the dishes and cleaning or picking up the trash, throwing out the trash. And no. You're there, present. You have a test. You have exercises, you have a sequence, you have a process. Look at my body language. I'm way more focused while I'm telling you that. Just to show you that I'm an eagle right now. I'm sharp. There's clarity. I'm sending you a very clear message. When it's work time, it's work time. When it's fun time, it's fun time. So we need to learn to tell the difference between these two moments and not connect both and think that, I never improve my listening. When in reality, you're not improving your process. You're not paying attention to fun and exercise. And then when you confuse both, you get into this trap of thinking you listen a lot, but you're not. Okay? Very, very important point. You need to learn to listen. Now, let's talk about that. Learning to listen, because that's a different game. And I love talking about that. Guys, focusing on all the words is the number one mistake students make. How do I know that? I have more than 20 years of experience teaching people from all over the world. I have had hundreds of private students, coaching, consulting calls, my online programs, more than 3,000 or 4,000, if all my online programs. I have helped a lot of people, not to mention you guys here on YouTube, on Instagram, other social media. And I always get this comment and message when I'm correcting students. They come to me with this request, and then I start to change the way they learn to listen. Because if you try to get all the words, your brain will freeze, because the English language is not about saying all the words. It's about connecting sounds and eliminating words. It's a language of sounds, not a language of words when you're speaking, okay? Just trying to make this explanation clear. So in English, in the English language, there's a lot of linking and omission. If I look at the phrase here, we'd already seen it. I am speaking slowly as a teacher. We had already seen it. We had already seen it. If I contract, we'd already seen it. Is a native speaker going to talk like that? Well, absolutely not. Look at this. We'd already seen it. We'd already seen it. We'd already seen it. That's what it would sound like. So everything gets linked. There's omission. Sounds change a little. There's more schwa. So we need to learn to listen. And if we focus, okay, where's the preposition at? Well, I don't get it. What are the words? You get way too focused on understanding everything and you get nothing. So you need to learn to listen. Your first lesson, and you're going to do this with me today if you stay until the end, is to focus on key words, not on everything. You don't need everything to understand what people are telling you. You need to get context. That's practice. Only this lesson and only the exercise I'm going to give you is not enough, of course. It's the repetition of this strategy that will help you improve your listening comprehension. So keywords plus critical thinking. We need both here. Why do I say critical thinking? Your reasoning. When I say you need to focus on keywords, I am assuming you have some grammar. Because some people think, oh, I just need to listen. Here, I'm not going to tell you that because I have a lot of experience, language learning, the brain process, when learning another language. You do need some grammar to connect the dots, to connect the words. So you will pick the words, some general words, some keywords, and you're going to use the reasoning you have, your critical thinking, the knowledge you already have of the language in terms of grammar, present, past, future, connecting ideas, and you will do this connection. This happens very quickly. Okay, this happens really, really quickly. And what are keywords? Keywords are verbs, nouns, adverbs, and negation. If it's a phrasal verb, of course, you need the preposition. But in general, the keywords are verbs, nouns, adjectives, adverbs, and negations. When I say nouns, names of people, okay, pronouns related to the person you're talking about. So it would fit into that category, okay? And why these words? They are giving you key information, action, objects, places. Okay, negation is so important because sometimes someone is telling you what not to do. And keep in mind that when native speakers are making a negative statement, they stress the negation because it is important. They know that they link sounds a lot. So they stress and the rhythm when they negate, okay, when they make negative sentences. And you need to learn about that too. Patterns of pronunciation, especially if you're at a B1, B2 level, you need to learn that if you want to get to a C1 level, okay? So keywords. And in the sequence that I'm going to teach you, each time you're going to focus on a slightly different task. And each time you listen, you have a different task to focus on and some time available to work on your listening comprehension. The number of repetition matters. When you're doing your listening practice, you are not supposed to repeat forever, as many times as you would like. That would be perfect, right? Like amazing. I can listen 100 times. That's awesome. That's terrible, actually. Imagine I have better things to do than listen to something repeatedly. Now, I like the number 3. And no, it's not a superstition or anything. I like to imitate life. What happens in real life? You're talking to an American, foreigner, someone else. You're talking to someone. You say it once. They don't understand. Well, they tell you something you don't understand. So you ask them to repeat. They nicely repeat it. You don't understand a second time. You are a little embarrassed. But with a little courage left, you ask them, oh, I'm so sorry, but just this final part, what was it? And then they repeat. Maybe not everything, but the last part 3 times. That's the maximum. In real life, people don't repeat a lot. The second time is already like in some situations, but a third repetition is also possible. I'm not saying with the students in my academy, for example, I know that some of my students repeat the exercise 4, sometimes 5. You're practicing. But with time, you should stay within 3-time repetition, because real life doesn't repeat a lot, okay? And I want to improve your ability to understand fast. That takes practice, okay? You do this recommendation here for 3 to 6 months, you are going to improve your listening comprehension dramatically. I'm not joking, okay? You do this consistently every week. It doesn't even have to be every day. Every week you do this consistently with other activities that I'm going to talk about. You will improve. I have no doubt whatsoever, okay? Now, details. The first time you're going to listen, remember 3 times. If you need a 4 and 5, 4th and 5th time, then it's fine. You're going to just repeat the process. But ideally, each time you listen, you focus on something else. First time, keywords. Just keywords so that you understand the general message of the material. So what is it about? That's the general. So you listen for the first time. When you finish, you pause. You can take some time to process the keywords you got and perhaps write a short sentence describing what the hell you understood. Even if it's just a little, no problems. It's practice. Second and third time, you're going to listen to the same source material and you are going to focus on detailed comprehension. Now is the time to do your best with the what, the where, the when, the who, the why, the examples, the names, the reasons, the why. Now it is time to focus on detail. The first time is just general. It's just to tell your brain, okay, here's the thing. We're listening about nocebo, the video you watched a few minutes ago. That's it. Because your brain, it's a good introduction for the brain. Okay, so that it becomes familiarized. Okay, so it's medical stuff. Interesting. Let's go. That's the idea. And how long should the materials be? Not a podcast. At least not a long one. You can take short parts of it. 2 to 5, at most 7 minutes, no longer than that. Okay, so 2 to 5 minutes, sweet spot. The idea is to improve listening comprehension. Okay? Oh, Priscilla, but I am a C1 level. Okay, you can increase a little, maybe 7 to 10 minutes. Okay? But even, for example, me, I'm fluent already. I'm a teacher. I do exercises that are up to 20 minutes. And when it's longer than 20 minutes, I divide and conquer. If it's a 40-minute audio, like a podcast or a video, a presentation, I divide. Because my goal is to test comprehension. So I do the first 20 minutes, I follow all the strategies I'm teaching you here, then I do the second part, I divide and conquer. So you need to build the ability to do that. That takes time. Not gonna lie to you. Before I go on, make sure to subscribe to the channel, perhaps share this video with a friend who loves learning, who needs to learn about listening, who needs to improve their listening comprehension. And if you're interested, my main recommendations are my study plan, because I teach you with video lessons and a plan how to organize the way you study, and my academy, which is the full transformation, where I'm going to create everything you need to do so that you can go from stuck to speaking over the next 6 months. Link in the description. But all you can do to support the channel is like, share this video with a friend. I really appreciate it. But anyway, supporting skills. If you paid attention to the first 3-time sequence, it's all listening. I listen, I pay attention to keywords, I try to describe what happened, then I listen 2 more times, I focus on details, and each time I listen, I pause and I take notes. Priscilla, when I finish this part, what do? You check the answer key. What is the answer key? The subtitles, the transcript, okay? Then you have to check the source transcript so that you can compare. How much did I get? And how much is here? in the transcript or in the subtitles. You finish this comparison, how much I got. With the students in my academy and other programs, I create everything they need to do, as I'm going to do this exercise with you right now, at least part of it, okay? But with the students in my programs, I create everything they need to do to fully test their listening comprehension, okay? But if you're doing this alone, that's how you do the checkup, okay? The verification stuff. Now, supporting skills is what comes next. You finished listening, you worked on your listening comprehension. Now you need to do more work, follow up, you know? And what are you going to include? Writing, vocabulary, pronunciation, and reading. You will also, okay, let me not get ahead of myself, okay? Writing. You're already doing writing as you're listening. But once you finish, you can do your writing practice again and write a longer explanation and one part or maybe 2 sentences, 1 paragraph or 2 sentences describing your opinion about the content. Why do I want you to practice sharing your opinion? A big problem intermediate learners have is not knowing how to express themselves. I think it's nice. I like the video. Very good. That's not enough if you want to be advanced. So practice sharing your views, adding contrast, adding more information, talking about your life. How does this affect you? And you do this by writing. You practice this. That will help you think more, have deeper answers, okay? I am preparing you to speak, not only to listen. As a result, you will improve your vocabulary because your next part is to work on vocabulary. What are the words you don't know in this material? Because sometimes people think, oh, I never understand. Well, it's because of vocabulary too. If your vocabulary is poor, your comprehension will be poor as well. There's no denial, okay? You can improve vocabulary. That's why you need to do follow-up work. Pronunciation, shadowing. Repeat after the speaker so that you can learn the way they link sounds, the rise and fall, the ups and downs, flat moments. The stress. What is stress? What gets a lot of attention when they're speaking? That's what you do with the material after the comprehension. Reading. Read. Maybe you didn't understand some parts of it. Now you can do a reading comprehension to understand what you missed. That's important work. All of this will improve your fluency. That's what fluency means. People think, I want to speak, I want to speak, I want to speak. But the foundation to make you speak, here you are. These skills will be worked on after your listening practice, okay? So we are going to listen. One additional point here that I want to make is, if you truly want to improve your listening comprehension, you also need to add variety here. You need to have materials that only have the audio source, no video. Because when you see someone talking, it is easier to understand. And you also need audio files that it's only the audio. You don't see anybody. So you need video so that you can see the speaker. And you also need audio files where there's just the audio. You don't see anyone. Today, we're going to listen to the audio only. We're not going to see anyone. Because I really need to challenge your listening skills, okay? That is a vital part of the process if you want to improve your listening comprehension, okay? So you should use both. And how often should you do this? Once a week. Once a week, you should pick a different material to do this, okay? With the students in my academy, they have this and they have other activities. That's why they have this exercise once a week. I'm going to add a little more for them, one more listening exercise. I'm planning this. But for now, they have once a week, they have one listening practice connected to everything, the reading, the speaking, the grammar, and vocabulary. So ideally, at least once a week, you follow this routine to improve your listening comprehension and whatever subject you like, okay? Now, I created a listening exercise for this session that we're going to do now. For the students in the academy, attention, if you are a student from my academy and you are in our group on Facebook, I posted like an hour ago, I posted the complete PDF and exercise for this practice, okay? Here, I'm just gonna do part of the listening exercise, but the students from the academy, I posted today, check it out, it's there in our group on Facebook, the complete exercise, the PDF file, and the materials for you to download. So, Mama Sardine, I call my students Sardine because I'm Mama Sardine. My babies, check out Facebook group and do the exercise. But here we're gonna do part of it, okay? Don't worry, we're gonna do part of it. So I'm gonna play the audio file now. I'm even gonna listen to, I'm gonna play the audio file, and your job is to answer this question only, general, okay? What is the main subject being discussed in this part of the material? What is the idea? What's it about? In a nutshell, what's it about? You don't need to get many details. That's all you need to get. For this practice, I'm gonna play it once, okay? The goal is not to understand everything. The goal is to get the genre. What's it about? And if you're using subtitles, turn off the subtitles now. This is a listening exercise, okay? Let's see, 1 second.
Scientists have known since the 1700s that placebos can sometimes provide real effective treatment, but exactly how it works is not well understood. What we do know is that placebo can be such an effective medical headfake that in the US, federal law requires that double-blind placebo tests be used in the trials of any new drugs. This means a new drug must beat its corresponding placebo in at least 2 clinical trials to become FDA approved, which, as it turns out, is harder than it sounds.
Very interesting. Now, Priscilla, it was so difficult. Can you play it one more time, please, woman? I can play it one more time. Guys, the secret here is to analyze. Okay, Priscilla, it was impossible. Listen one more time. Because now you're sharp, you're focused, you're doing the exercise. I'm not against repeating it another time, a third time. I'm against, I'm at the gym, I'm repeating and no strategy. We have the question, you don't need to understand everything. I want the main context. Let's listen one more time.
Scientists have known since the 1700s that placebos can sometimes provide real effective treatment, but exactly how it works is not well understood. What we do know is that placebo can be such an effective medical headfake that in the US, federal law requires that double-blind placebo tests be used in the trials of any new drugs. This means a new drug must beat its corresponding placebo in at least 2 clinical trials to become FDA approved, which, as it turns out, is harder than it sounds.
Very nice. Very, very nice. Oh, Priscilla, I don't know what it is about. Oh my goodness. So maybe it's vocabulary. So what I pick here are usually things from native speakers. Because I'm not going to pick something that is too easy, just to make your life beautiful. Like, I understand everything I need. No, I want to challenge you. I want to make you fluent. Talk to anyone, anywhere, anytime. But I analyze the activities and I make sure that I prepare them for B1, B2. Oh my goodness. Okay. Let's see. No, let's see. Oh, there's another part. 1 second, guys. Let's see what I prepared, because I prepared so many things. Let's see. 1 second, guys. 1 second. Okay. Now we do have more questions. Oops, sorry. The video is about placebo, the placebo effect, general, okay? Now we're gonna listen again. I thought there was another audio, but it's the same audio. Now we're gonna listen again, and I have these questions for you guys. How long have doctors known about the placebo effect? So I wanna know time. How long have they known? They know about the doctors, scientists, they know about it, but for how long? Listen. Does the placebo always provide real effective treatment? You will listen. The placebo always provide real effective treatment. There's something in the audio that says or confirms or not. Listen. Another question. What is required? What is mandatory? What is required in the United States regarding the placebo effect and new drugs? And what does it mean? This is the most difficult question because it's longer. Okay? So now we're going to listen again. We're going to listen 3 times. I'm going to be nice to you guys. And I will leave the questions here on the screen so that you can listen and see the questions. And I will repeat 3 times, non-stop, okay? Let's go.
Scientists have known since the 1700s that placebos can sometimes provide real effective treatment, but exactly how it works is not well understood. What we do know is that placebo can be such an effective medical head fake that in the US, federal law requires that double-blind placebo tests be used in the trials of any new drugs. This means a new drug must beat its corresponding placebo in at least 2 clinical trials to become FDA approved, which, as it turns out, is harder than it sounds. Scientists have known since the 1700s that placebos can sometimes provide real effective treatment, but exactly how it works is not well understood. What we do know is that placebo can be such an effective medical head fake that in the US, federal law requires that double-blind placebo tests be used in the trials of any new drugs. This means a new drug must beat its corresponding placebo in at least 2 clinical trials to become FDA approved, which, as it turns out, is harder than it sounds. Scientists have known since the 1700s that placebos can sometimes provide real effective treatment, but exactly how it works is not well understood. What we do know is that placebo can be such an effective medical head fake that in the US, federal law requires that double-blind placebo tests be used in the trials of any new drugs. This means a new drug must beat its corresponding placebo in at least 2 clinical trials to become FDA approved, which, as it turns out, is harder than it sounds.
Awesome. How was it? Hard? Difficult? So-so? Guys, this is what I do with my students. Of course, I do provide way more guidance. I have more listening strategies, more preparation, vocabulary preparation, grammar preparation, so that they gradually improve their listening. Because listening is one skill. You need to follow an integrated practice to improve your listening comprehension. I do have the transcription here, which you can look at and check the answers. Yes, I'm not going to give you the answers. You're going to check the answers here. And what would my next recommendation be? Okay, I did my list. You will see it. Don't worry. Okay, I will make it available longer. You did the listening. Now it's over. Hasta la vista. Now you check the transcript. Ay, Priscilla, I understood very little. No problems. This is practice. You're on the journey. Now you check, you find the answers, you compare with what you wrote, and you study the words, you study reading comprehension, you study vocabulary, and you practice pronunciation and shadowing so that you understand. You play the audio and you listen, you play the audio and you read so that you become more familiar with the intonation, speed, linking, omission of sounds. That will help you improve your listening comprehension. Remember the ego, the focus. Remember the focus of the ego, sharp, your job. That's what you need to focus on when you're doing your listening comprehension. Now, the second part of the exercise, it's another, I think it's 1 minute, the next part. I prepared for the students in the academy, as I mentioned before. If you want to be a student in my program, link in the description of this video. There are 6 more questions. There's another part, there's a lot more information, and same style, in audio format with the questions. I prepared the transcript. So it is a wonderful way to improve your listening comprehension. My babies, I hope you enjoyed the exercise, inside my academy. But other than that, my friends, I hope you enjoyed this video. If possible, share it with a friend. But other than that, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you guys. Bye-bye.